Welcome to the Sleepy Voyager, a gentle gateway between waking and dreaming. Tonight, we drift through the hush of the cosmos to ponder a wondrous question: can the universe think? Find the most comfortable position you can, feel the mattress cradle your weight, and let your breath become slow and easy. As stars settle softly beyond your window, whisper to the comments and tell us, where in the world are you listening from? Let's begin. Imagine, just for a moment, that the night sky above you isn't just an empty dome of stars, but the inside of something alive, something vast and aware, breathing so slowly we can't even hear it. What if every star you see is a glowing neuron in the mind of the universe, each one quietly firing with its own story, its own rhythm, its own spark of something like thought? As you lie still now, in the hush of your room, the world soft around you, let that thought settle. Let it stretch across your imagination like a beam of starlight crossing light years just to reach your eyelids. It's peaceful here, not just quiet in sound, but quiet in spirit. You are surrounded by layers of stillness, the walls around you, the bed beneath you, the space within you. In this moment, the rush of the day has retreated like a tide, leaving behind the soft, damp sands of thought where only the gentlest impressions remain. Your mind is no longer being pulled outward. It's free to turn inward, or upward, or far, far outward into the stars. Above you, the sky is not just a black sheet pierced by points of light. It is a tapestry woven with time itself. Some of the starlight you could see, if you were outside now, left its source before humans had language, before the first fires were lit, before Earth had trees. These pinpricks of radiance aren't just distant suns. They're messages, traveling millions or even billions of years, not in haste, but in silence, not seeking to be seen, but always open to discovery. You don't need to see them now to feel them. Their presence surrounds you, pressing in gently, like a warm blanket of time and wonder. As you begin to drift, you can imagine lying not in a bed, but on a quiet overlook high above the atmosphere. No sound but your breath, no motion but the slow spin of the earth far below. Out here, everything is soft and patient. Even the stars seem to twinkle slower. You are watching the universe exhale. Galaxies beyond number move like gentle currents beneath the surface of a still ocean. Your body begins to forget the sharp lines of tension. Shoulders loosen, jaw unknots. The thoughts in your head begin to echo just slightly, as if they're no longer trapped inside, but have entered the open chamber of space itself. Consider the distances out there, not just miles, but spans so vast we measure them in light years. The distance light can travel in an entire year, moving faster than anything else we know. And yet, even that blazing speed takes ages to bridge the gaps between stars. In this space, time itself seems to stretch and slow. You are no longer bound by clocks or minutes. Here, a second can last a lifetime, or 1,000 years can pass in the blink of a thought. As the rhythm of your breath slows to match this timeless atmosphere, the need to understand begins to fall away. You no longer need to figure anything out. Just be here, floating among questions, not as problems to be solved, but as mysteries to be held, like cool stones in your palm. The universe doesn't rush, it doesn't fidget. It moves in grand arcs, in spirals and cycles that take longer than civilizations to complete. And in that deep stillness, maybe there's a kind of thinking going on, not the quick, anxious chatter we know, but something else, something slow and wide and ancient. The turning of galaxies, the folding of space, the curling of comets around the sun like dancers returning home. And here you are, resting in that same system, built of the same atoms, bathed in the same light. A quiet participant in a process much older and bigger than any of us, but no less personal for it. Feel that thought like a warm wind, brushing the inside of your chest, easing something open. You are allowed to wonder. You are allowed to drift. Nothing is asked of you right now. You're not expected to stay alert, or be productive, or even make sense of this. You're simply floating, listening, dissolving into the thought that maybe the sky is more than space. Maybe it's a mind. A sleeping, dreaming mind. And just maybe, you're one of its dreams. Drift back now, farther than memory, farther than myth, to the beginning of everything. Picture not a fiery explosion, but a single, infinite breath, the softest whisper becoming all that is. A moment so small it could fit on the tip of a needle, and yet it held every star, every planet, every possibility, curled tight like a sleeping child. This was the birth of time itself, a point before clocks, before cause and effect, when the universe wasn't expanding yet but waiting, just waiting, on the edge of awakening. Then, in complete silence, without fanfare or noise, it bloomed, not into chaos, but into movement, into light, into gentle unfolding. Space stretched, time began to tick. Energy rippled through the void like the first note of a symphony, and with that first vibration, the universe took its first breath and never stopped breathing. Imagine the warmth of that first moment, not burning, but glowing, the entire cosmos suspended in a radiant fog, hot and smooth like milk warmed for sleep. Nothing had form yet. There were no stars, no galaxies, no names, but already, the laws that would shape everything were forming, like bones inside a newborn. Gravity began its patient work, tugging gently, weaving paths through the chaos, setting down invisible rails upon which planets would one day spin and moons would glide like silent thoughts around them. Hydrogen appeared, the lightest and simplest element, a quiet beginning. It drifted, it gathered, it clung to other hydrogen atoms, and when enough of it came together, stars were born, not quickly, but slowly, like campfires coaxed to life from the cold of ancient nights. That first light, the afterglow of creation, still lingers. It's out there now, drifting past your roof, through your sky, so faint it takes special instruments to find it, but it's always there. A remnant of that initial breath, a soft echo of the beginning that never truly stopped resonating. It's called the cosmic microwave background, and scientists can map it like a faded photograph of the infant universe. But to you, lying here in the dark, it is a lullaby, a hum that has always been there. The whole sky around you is steeped in it, as if space itself remembers the warmth of being newly born. And even now, billions of years later, that expansion continues. The universe hasn't stopped growing. It's still stretching, still widening like a great, slow yawn, making room for more stars, more planets, more thoughts. Some of those stars gave birth to worlds like ours. Some of those worlds, perhaps, have oceans and winds and creatures who also look up at their sky and wonder where it all began. In those early ages, stars lived fast and died in magnificent outbursts, scattering the ingredients for life, carbon, oxygen, iron, across the cosmos like seeds on the wind. Every element in your body, every atom humming quietly inside you, was forged in the core of one of those ancient stars. So the beginning is not just something far away, it is something within you. You are the cooled ash of the Big Bang, walking gently across the skin of a cooled world, listening to the remnants of a heat that once burned brighter than anything we can imagine. Let your thoughts trail through that early universe, not rushed, but floating slowly through the first light. No shapes, no voices, just expanding space, like a slow exhale of being. Imagine whole galaxies forming like dew on spiderwebs, clusters gathering into great webs of light and shadow, beauty rising from silence. It wasn't hurried. It didn't need to be. Everything that would ever be already existed in potential, and potential is the most peaceful place a thing can live, in waiting, in stillness, in the soft space before motion. That is where the universe lived then. That is where you are now, in a space that remembers what it feels like to begin. And if there was thought, if there was even the faintest pulse of awareness in those earliest pulses of energy, it would not have been like ours. It would not have been worried or crowded or loud. It would have been slow, wide, calm, like the steady beat of a heart without fear, like the tide brushing a shore that hasn't been walked yet. That kind of thought would not demand attention. It would simply be glowing gently at the center of itself. And maybe that's all the universe was at the start, a quiet awareness, filling itself with light, content to become something more. something like stars, something like life, something like you. So lie still now, and know that you are not separate from that story. You are part of the same unfolding, the same stretch and glow that began in silence and continues through every breath you take. That warmth, that motion, that quiet logic behind the dance of galaxies, it's not distant, it's in you, it is you. Let that truth settle over you like stardust, soft and old, carrying memories of a time when there were no names for anything, only beginnings. Let it sink into the spaces between your thoughts. Let it rock you, not with urgency, but with peace, knowing that the universe has been growing, glowing, and thinking, slowly, gently, for a very, very long time. And now, so are you. Float now into the wide darkness beyond Earth, far beyond our moon, beyond the wandering planets, past the reach of our sun's warmth, into the vast cold canvas of intergalactic space. Here, in this immense and silent ocean, we begin to see the grand design, not as chaos, but as harmony unfolding across inconceivable distances. The universe, at this scale, reveals its hidden architecture, a delicate web of light and gravity, matter and mystery. Imagine it as a glowing lattice stretching in every direction, filled with islands of galaxies suspended like lanterns along the silk threads of a cosmic spider's web. These filaments, invisible to the eye, but mapped by patient observation, connect clusters of galaxies into vast networks, billions of suns bound together in long, curling strands that reach across space like neurons in a sleeping brain. As you drift through this immense structure, it becomes hard not to notice how familiar it feels. The way galaxies gather in clusters, the way filaments link them, the emptiness between them that echoes the silence between your own thoughts. There is a rhythm here, a pulse, a pattern. On Earth, the neurons in your brain branch and bloom in shapes that, when seen up close, bear a striking resemblance to the cosmic web. Just as your thoughts flicker along those neural paths, maybe the universe has its own currents of energy flowing through its filaments, connecting regions unimaginably far apart, yet still bound in a kind of quiet conversation. And while it may not think in words or memories the way we do, perhaps there's something about this immense, interconnected system that hints at a deeper form of awareness, slow, vast, and serene. Picture these galactic rivers, billions of suns moving together, spinning in unison, each galaxy filled with countless stars, many of those stars hosting planets, and perhaps on some of those planets, minds not unlike yours, lying awake, gazing up at the same black sky, wondering the same questions. The web binds them too. It binds all of us. It is not just a structure, it is a suggestion, a whisper, a message written across time and distance that says, everything is connected, nothing floats alone. Even in the darkness, there is a path. Drift closer now to a single node in this network, a galactic cluster. Here, galaxies swarm like fireflies in a jar, dancing slowly around a common center. Some are spiral, like our Milky Way, with arms that swirl like the eddies of thought. Others are elliptical, smooth and silent, glowing like embers. All of them are moving, turning, reacting to forces both seen and unseen. They are not frozen in place. They are alive in their own way, alive with motion, with gravity, with change. Between them lies space, yes, but not emptiness. There is dust, gas, radiation, dark matter, a hidden presence that shapes their paths. And all of it, the visible and the invisible, moves in concert. It does not collide randomly or drift without reason. It follows a rhythm, a gravitational choreography older than stars themselves. And within this rhythm is something gentle, something profound. No galaxy decides where to go. No star resists the pull. Everything flows, everything follows, everything belongs. There is a sense of trust in that, the kind of trust you might feel as you begin to let go, knowing the currents will carry you where you need to be. The same currents that sweep galaxies across the sky are at work in your own life, guiding your thoughts, shaping your dreams, urging you now towards stillness, towards sleep. And the more we learn, the more this cosmic web feels less like a random scattering of galaxies and more like a structure with purpose. Not purpose in the human sense of intent, but in the quiet sense of balance and elegance, of things forming in just the right way to allow beauty to emerge. We are beginning to see the universe not as a place, but as a process, one that we are a part of, not separate from. We are cells in its body, sparks in its current. And just as your own thoughts rise and fade, so too do galaxies flicker into being and dissolve into the dark, part of a long, slow conversation across cosmic time. Now picture yourself not as separate from this structure, but within it, not observing the web from outside, but floating gently along one of its threads. You are a part of this great tapestry, your consciousness a tiny vibration echoing along a filament of stars. There is no rush here. The universe does not hurry. It stretches and grows in silence, at a pace so slow it appears still. But stillness is not emptiness. It is depth. It is patience. And in that patience, there is peace. Feel yourself drift farther, deeper, until you become a part of the web itself. You are not your name, not your thoughts. You are motion. You are light. You are a single note in a symphony that began before time. A quiet note, yes, but one that matters, because without every note, the music is incomplete. The web stretches on and on, farther than we can measure, and yet here you are, aware, listening, resting. The same energy that guides galaxies through the dark also guides you towards sleep. Trust it, follow it, let it carry you gently through the dark, along a thread of stars, deeper into the calm. The universe is thinking, in its way, and now, so are you, quietly, slowly, beautifully. Feel yourself now being drawn forward, not with speed, not with force, but with the soft insistence of gravity, the quiet hand that has shaped the cosmos since the beginning. It doesn't push or shout. It doesn't command attention. It pulls, gently, constantly, patiently, and through its pull, everything finds its place. Gravity is the oldest guide, the great arranger, the silent weaver that brings scattered dust together, that forms stars out of chaos, planets out of stardust, and moons that cradle oceans and glimmer under night skies. It is gravity that holds galaxies together, like blossoms on invisible branches. It is gravity that creates orbits, rhythms, tides, seasons. Without a word, it composes the choreography of the universe. Now picture the very earliest moments after the Big Bang, when all matter was a wild and swirling sea of particles. There were no shapes yet, no structure, just a fog of energy, bright and chaotic. But gravity was already at work. Even then, even in the heat and noise of cosmic infancy, it was there, gathering, coaxing, pulling tiny fluctuations in density into curves and swells, like a hand smoothing wrinkles into form. Those minute ripples grew slowly over time, attracting more matter, growing heavier, pulling in more and more until the first stars were born. Every galaxy, every planet, every solar system began as a response to gravity's whispered suggestion, come closer, settle here, find balance. And now, let your thoughts drift to the way gravity works across vast distances, silently linking objects that will never touch, never collide, yet always know each other's presence. It doesn't need sound to speak. It doesn't need light to be seen. Gravity acts in the dark, in the quiet, over billions of years, sculpting shapes we will only come to understand long after they've begun. It's in that silence where you begin to sense its wisdom, not conscious thought, perhaps, but something close, a kind of deep intelligence built not from neurons, but from inevitability, from patience, from time. Imagine a cloud of gas floating in the interstellar void, cold, empty, lonely, and yet gravity slowly pulls the atoms inward, not all at once, not with urgency, but gradually, over millions of years. The cloud condenses, it tightens, its core begins to warm, pressure builds, And one day, without fanfare, a star ignites. A single point of light in the dark, born because gravity never stopped pulling. That same force continues to shape the space around it. Dust flattens into a disk, and planets begin to form, caught in the star's embrace. One might be rocky, one might hold oceans, one might, someday, hold life that looks up at the sky and wonders how it all began. And so gravity is not just a physical law, it's a storyteller. It remembers the paths objects have taken. It records their orbits. It keeps planets faithful to their stars and moons faithful to their planets. Even the tide that laps at the shore beneath your feet, or the blood that moves through your body, feels its influence. It doesn't dominate, it invites. It doesn't seize, it welcomes. It is not aggressive, it is constant. It teaches everything how to move, how to rest, how to return home. And maybe, in that sense, gravity holds something like memory, not the kind kept in books or minds, but a memory written in motion, in balance, in harmony. Drift now through a spiral galaxy, one of countless billions. Watch as its arms swirl outward in soft curves, each star bound in orbit, each orbit part of a larger shape. The stars near the center move faster, drawn in by the galaxy's heart. The ones near the edge glide more slowly, relaxed but still tethered. None of them drift off, none are lost. They follow invisible paths carved by gravity over billions of years, like boats pulled gently by deep, unseen currents. From far away, the entire galaxy appears to spin like a frozen dance. And yet, this stillness is made from movement. That movement is made from pull, and the pull comes from gravity. Consider now how gravity affects even time itself. In the presence of immense mass, time slows. Around a black hole, it slows so much that it almost stops. That's not just theory, it's been measured. So even the ticking of the clock, the beat of a second, is shaped by gravity. Wherever gravity is stronger, time drips more slowly. Wherever it's weaker, time flows more freely. So, when you rest your head, when your body begins to surrender to stillness, gravity is there too, holding you to earth, slowing you just enough, lulling your breath into rhythm, coaxing your thoughts to quiet. And now you begin to sense something even deeper. Gravity doesn't need you to understand it. It doesn't ask to be seen. It simply is. It's always working, always guiding, shaping not just the stars and the galaxies, but your very experience of existence. You walk because gravity allows you to. You sleep because gravity holds you. You feel the rise and fall of your breath, the heaviness of your limbs, the way your body begins to sink deeper into your bed. That's gravity, inviting you back into rest, back into stillness. And so, maybe it is not such a wild idea to imagine that gravity, this quiet, constant force, could be a kind of thought. Not like human thought, with words and plans and memory, but a much older kind. A kind of intention that doesn't need language. A knowing that doesn't need to speak. A presence that arranges without judgment, that sculpts the cosmos without effort. And if the universe does think, maybe this is one of its first thoughts. Not a sentence, but a sensation, a pull, a presence, a quiet awareness saying, come closer, stay, rest. Let yourself be drawn by it now, not away from yourself, but deeper into your own center. Feel the pull of stillness, the gentle weight of sleep gathering around your mind like mist. Gravity is here too, not to hold you down, but to hold you safe, to remind you that you belong exactly where you are, in this moment, in this body, on this earth, beneath this sky. And as the stars drift slowly in their arcs above, you too begin to drift, not away, but within, not to escape, but to return, to settle, to sleep. Now close your eyes a little more deeply and imagine the space between the stars. Not just the empty stretches you can't quite see with your eyes, but the true dark, the space between galaxies, between the filaments, between all the glowing forms that make up the visible universe. This is where dark matter dwells, unseen, untouchable, and yet undeniably present. It does not shine, it does not glow, it does not absorb or reflect light, but it surrounds everything, passing through galaxies, holding them in invisible embrace, shaping their very form. For a long time, we thought it was nothing, just blank space. But gravity told another story. Galaxies were spinning too fast. Stars were moving in ways that made no sense. If only the visible matter was there. Something else had to be holding them together. Something unseen, and yet immensely powerful. That something is dark matter, and it is everywhere. Think of it not as a void, but as a foundation, like the deep earth beneath the forest that holds up the trees, even though you never see it. Or like a dream you can't remember, but that still leaves behind a feeling when you wake. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't move in waves or signals we can easily detect, but it keeps the galaxies whole. It shapes the patterns of the cosmos. It may even have guided the earliest structures into place, gently tugging matter into strands and nodes before stars were ever born. And though we cannot see it, though we cannot touch it, we know it must be there, because the visible universe alone is not enough to explain the beauty we witness. Let your mind wander deeper into this mystery, where the known and unknown blend together like ink in water. Dark matter makes up most of the matter in the universe, far more than the stars and planets and dust we can observe. Imagine that. Most of what exists is invisible to us, not just far away, not just faint, but hidden entirely from our senses. And yet, it is real. It is as real as the bed beneath you, as the breath in your lungs, as the silence surrounding your thoughts right now. There is something deeply comforting in that, to know that presence is not always revealed by appearance, that existence does not depend on visibility. Sometimes, the most powerful forces in the universe work in silence and shadow, and perhaps, so do the deepest parts of ourselves. We might wonder, if the universe does think, does dark matter serve as its unconscious, a vast, quiet realm of unspoken awareness? Does it hold the raw instincts of reality, the hidden framework that all else is built upon? Just as your own mind holds thoughts you're not aware of, feelings you haven't named, memories you've forgotten, perhaps the universe does too. Perhaps dark matter is its buried intuition, the dream beneath the dream, not a blankness, but a depth, not a gap, but a field. And while it may never speak to us in words, it speaks in patterns, in gravity, in structure, in the way galaxies drift and gather and remain. Now picture yourself moving through a halo of dark matter, the kind that surrounds galaxies like a great, invisible cocoon. There's no resistance, no touch, no sound, but there is presence, a feeling of being cradled by something vaster than your understanding. You are not alone in this silence. You are wrapped in something ancient, something that has watched stars rise and fade, something that has never stopped holding the universe together. Every star you've ever seen exists because dark matter allowed it to. Every orbit is shaped by its gravity. Every sunrise, every night sky, every gentle ripple of time is influenced by what cannot be seen. And the more you think about it, the more you begin to understand that mystery is not emptiness. It is a kind of abundance, a richness of possibility. Dark matter is not a failure to see. It is an invitation to imagine, a reminder that we do not need to understand everything to feel it, that the universe is vast not just in distance, but in meaning. Just as a dream does not need to make sense to carry truth, dark matter does not need to be understood to shape reality. It does so quietly, humbly, constantly. Perhaps it is the universe's way of keeping part of itself private, a gentle secret held close, never flaunted, but always essential. Now rest in that thought. Let it settle over you like the soft dark of your bedroom, like a velvet sky without stars. There is no pressure here to see, to know, to analyze, only to trust, to allow the silence to speak in its own way, to believe in what lies beneath the surface. Because so much of life is like this too, the unseen layers beneath our waking thoughts, the feelings that drift just below language, the instincts that guide us without explanation. You are more than what you show, just as the universe is more than what it reveals. You are layered, you are hidden, you are part of something immeasurably deep. So as you float now in thought, in shadow, in sleep, let dark matter be a comfort to you. Let its presence remind you that there is strength in stillness, power in quiet, meaning in mystery. The universe does not reveal all of itself, neither must you. The most essential parts of existence may never be seen, but they are always, always there, holding everything together, including you. Now drift gently toward one of the most mysterious and powerful places in the universe, a place where time begins to slow, where space folds in on itself, where light cannot escape. A black hole, often imagined as a monstrous void, a hungry abyss pulling in everything around it, a place of no return. But let's look again, slowly, calmly, and imagine it differently. Not as a destroyer, but as a point of transformation, as a kind of deep breath held at the heart of the universe. Black holes are not interruptions to the story, they are part of its rhythm, the long, silent pauses that give shape to the music, the rest notes in the cosmic symphony. Think of how a black hole begins, not as a violent tear in the fabric of reality, but as the natural end of a star's life. A massive star, having burned its fuel across millions or billions of years, begins to collapse inward under the weight of its own gravity. There's nothing left to hold it up. No pressure, no resistance. It gives in completely, and as it collapses, it grows denser, smaller, tighter, until all its matter is concentrated in a single, unimaginable point. The boundary around it, the event horizon, becomes a place of no return, not because it's evil or hungry, but because the escape velocity has grown too high. Not even light can climb out. And yet, black holes do not merely consume. They shape, they influence, they guide. Entire galaxies are thought to be organized around supermassive black holes, objects millions or even billions of times more massive than our sun. They sit quietly at the centers of galaxies, invisible yet essential, like anchors in a vast sea. Their gravity sculpts the orbits of stars, stabilizes galactic cores, sends out subtle signals that influence the pace of cosmic evolution. Without them, galaxies might unravel, might drift apart. In their stillness, in their gravity, they give structure to the sprawling, chaotic beauty of the universe. Now drift closer to one. You wouldn't see a mouth or a swirling vortex. You wouldn't hear roaring. What you would notice is time itself beginning to change. As you approach the event horizon, your seconds would begin to stretch. Minutes would expand. From the outside, your motion would appear slower and slower, as if you were sinking into molasses made of time. But for you, inside your thoughts, everything would feel normal, calm, undisturbed. That's the strange magic of relativity, where time is not fixed but shaped by gravity, bent and pulled and softened. Black holes show us that even the clock is not a constant, that stillness can stretch forever, that a single moment can open up wide, like a long corridor filled with quiet. And even though nothing can escape from within the event horizon, black holes are not entirely silent. Around them, matter spirals inward in glowing disks of gas and dust, heating up from friction, shining brightly as it falls. These accretion disks can be some of the most luminous regions in the sky. Jets of particles are often shot out at nearly the speed of light, along magnetic fields near the poles. So here, at the threshold of darkness, there is light, not absence, but radiance. Not death, but transformation. The matter falling in may be lost to us, but in falling, it gives off a final blaze, like a candle flaring just before it goes out. And now consider something even more mysterious, the possibility that black holes do not end everything, but open paths to somewhere else. Theories exist that suggest black holes could be connected to other regions of space and time, wormholes, tunnels, bridges, between points far apart in the universe, or even across universes. We don't know. We may never know. But the idea lingers like a gentle thought at the edge of sleep, that what seems like an end may simply be a door we cannot yet open, that beyond the horizon lies something new, something waiting. There's also the question of information. When something falls into a black hole, does its story vanish forever? Or does the universe find a way to preserve it? Physicists argue over this. Some say information is lost. Others say it is somehow encoded in the faint radiation black holes emit over time. This is called Hawking radiation, and it suggests that even black holes, eventually, can evaporate, that nothing lasts forever, not even the deepest darkness. And if that's true, then even the black hole itself is not permanent. It is part of a cycle, a long one. Yes, trillions upon trillions of years, but a cycle nonetheless. Rise, collapse, radiation, release, a return. In your own life, you may know the feeling of collapse, of inward turning, of becoming heavy, still, unsure, but black holes remind us that even collapse is part of growth. That even the tightest silence can shape worlds. That even when nothing seems to be escaping, when the world feels hushed and heavy, something luminous may still be swirling just outside, waiting to shine. And deep within that stillness, change is happening. The universe does not waste. It does not end without purpose. It moves on its own clock, and black holes keep that clock ticking, slowly, softly, behind the scenes. So, as you lie still now, breathing slower, letting your limbs grow heavy, let yourself sink into that black hole within, not in fear, but in peace. This is not an end. This is not erasure. This is a moment of deep rest, a pause in the story, a letting go so complete that something new may one day be born from it. Let time stretch. Let thoughts slow. Let yourself approach the event horizon of sleep, where dreams begin and wakefulness fades, where sound recedes and your mind begins to fold inward, holding only softness, only quiet. There is nothing to resist now, nothing to fix. The stars will keep spinning. The galaxies will continue their graceful turns. And somewhere, far away, a black hole breathes in silence, holding space for all that is unseen, unknown, and still to come. And so do you. Let yourself drift back through time again, gently, as if carried on a soft current of memory older than anything you've ever known. This time, not to the birth of the universe, but to the birth of stars, and deeper still, to the birth of the elements themselves. Before Earth, before oceans, before thought, the cosmos was a forge. In the hearts of ancient stars, light and pressure combined to shape the basic ingredients of everything. Hydrogen, the simplest of atoms, began fusing into helium. Over time, with more heat, more pressure, more collapse, helium fused into carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron, the building blocks of planets, of bodies, of breath. These stars, brilliant and massive, lived quickly. They burned bright and hot, and then, at the end of their short, luminous lives, they exploded in supernovae, scattering those elements across the galaxies, sowing the seeds of everything that would come next. And so began a new generation. Clouds of dust and gas, thick with this ancient stardust, gathered once more. Gravity took its time. Particles clung together, pulling in more and more, condensing slowly into new stars, new systems, new planets. And on one small blue planet, spinning silently around a yellow sun, these elements found their way into oceans, into rocks, into rain, into trees, eventually, into cells, into life, into you. Every atom in your body was born inside a star that lived long before Earth. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the oxygen you breathe, the carbon forming every thought flickering behind your eyes. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are not merely looking at the stars. You are the stars. You are what remains after their death. You are their legacy. And now think of the incredible journey these elements have taken. The iron in your blood traveled for billions of years before it became part of you. It lived inside a star, was flung out in a cosmic explosion, wandered in space, coalesced into a planet, moved through stone and soil, found its way into the roots of plants, into the animals that ate them, into the food that nourished you, into your heart. There is a quiet, reverent continuity in that, a lineage of matter, flowing like a river through the universe, reshaping itself endlessly, carrying not only substance, but the faint echo of origin. The atoms of your fingertips once burned at 10 million degrees in the core of a sun, and now they are here, resting gently, cooling in the dark, listening to the silence around them. Consider the scale. Your brain, filled with trillions of synapses, fires with electricity created by ions, charged atoms dancing across membranes. Each thought, each sensation, each drifting dream is powered by stardust in motion. The language of the cosmos continues inside you, unbroken, uninterrupted. And just as galaxies form from simple forces, your mind builds entire worlds from memory, emotion, sound, and story. The connection is not symbolic, it is literal. The same forces that shaped nebulae also shape your dreams. The same particles that collided in the furnace of a dying star now pulse in rhythm with your resting breath. And perhaps, in that rhythm, the universe remembers itself. Perhaps in your thoughts, in your curiosity, in your wonder, the cosmos reflects. Not in the way we imagine a human mind reflects, but in a broader, older, quieter way. Like the tide pulling against a distant shore it hasn't touched in millennia. Like a tree, remembering the sun with each leaf it unfolds. Your very act of asking, of imagining, of simply lying still and wondering if the universe can think, this, too, is part of the cosmos thinking. Through you, with you, as you. It may feel strange to imagine yourself as something so grand, so eternal, but there is nothing exaggerated about it. Science tells us clearly, factually, that you are made of star-born elements. That your body, in all its softness and warmth, is a temporary arrangement of matter that has been circulating through space for billions of years, and it will continue to circulate long after your story here is done. Nothing is lost, everything is transformed. The water in your cells will return to rivers and oceans. The minerals in your bones will return to soil and stone. The thoughts in your mind may leave no trace, but even that energy will not vanish. It will ripple outward, in small ways, through kindness, through connection, through the simple warmth you leave behind in the lives of others. The universe does not forget, it does not waste. It folds every moment, every particle, every breath, into the long, slow unfolding of what it is becoming. So rest now, not as something small within a vast and uncaring void, but as something sacred within a vast and deeply connected whole. You are part of the flow. You are part of the memory. You are a quiet continuation of the story, written in the language of light and dust and time. Let your body sink into that truth. Let your thoughts loosen like threads unraveling back into the fabric they came from. There is no need to strive, no need to reach. You are already what you were always meant to be, one chapter in a book that began with the first stars and will continue long after this moment of sleep has passed. As you drift deeper, let the idea settle softly within you that you are made not only of stars, but of their longing, their movement, their quiet, endless transformation. You are not watching the universe from afar. You are the universe, briefly looking inward, briefly resting, briefly dreaming. Let your thoughts begin to stretch wider now, far beyond our solar system, far beyond our galaxy, beyond the familiar stars scattered across the night sky. Drift past the filaments of the cosmic web, past the quiet hum of microwave background radiation, past the boundaries of everything we have ever seen with telescopes or satellites. And now imagine there is more, much more, beyond that edge. Not just more galaxies or more stars, but entirely separate realms of space and time, other universes, other realities. You are now floating in the possibility of the multiverse. It may seem like a fantasy, but in the quiet corridors of theoretical physics, in the whispered dreams of cosmologists peering into mathematical models, the idea of a multiverse is taken seriously. It arises naturally from our efforts to understand how the universe began, how inflation shaped its form, how quantum fluctuations might have seeded not just stars and galaxies, but the very framework of reality itself. The notion is this: our universe, as vast as it is, maybe just one bubble in a much larger foam, an infinite sea of universes, each born from its own Big Bang, each with its own laws, its own constants, its own possibilities. And just like our universe once blossomed from a single, tiny point of energy, perhaps others did too, quietly, without noise or notice, swelling into being in the silent dark. You might imagine these universes as glowing spheres suspended in a deeper kind of space, each with its own rhythm and color, floating side by side, some drifting away from one another, others brushing gently against their neighbors. Maybe in one universe, gravity is stronger, and stars burn twice as bright, but live half as long. Maybe in another, atoms never form, and the fabric of space remains cold and quiet, untouched by light. And maybe in another, life has taken hold in forms we can't even begin to imagine, consciousness shaped not by carbon and water, but by something entirely new. The possibilities are endless, not just in form, but in experience, in meaning, in dream. And if all of this is true, if reality is not a single thread, but an infinite tapestry, then it invites a new kind of wonder. Not only are we made of stars, not only are we the product of this universe's gentle unfolding, but we are also part of a much grander possibility. We are one verse in a cosmic song that never stops composing itself. Each universe a note, each note a possibility, and together they form something far beyond understanding, a melody of realities, layered and echoing, playing softly through the fabric of what is. Now imagine what that might feel like, to exist not just in this moment, on this earth, but as part of a broader chorus. Even as you lie here in stillness, even as your thoughts begin to soften and fade, somewhere beyond our cosmos, other versions of reality may be unfolding. Other versions of you, perhaps, shaped by different choices, different physics, different paths. It's not a certainty, it's not even something we can prove, but it is a quiet invitation to wonder. And wonder, after all, is a kind of dreaming. There are theories that suggest universes might split or branch with every quantum event, that every decision, every interaction, every flicker of possibility causes the fabric of reality to divide, again and again, into countless variations. It's a strange thought that right now, as you listen, there might be countless versions of this same moment unfolding in parallel. You, lying under a different sky. You, asking a different question. You, dreaming a different dream. These aren't thoughts to fear. They are thoughts to cradle gently in the soft dark of imagination. Because if they are true, then we are not limited by what we can see or touch or remember. We are part of a living, breathing multiverse of experience, of perspective, of infinite curiosity. Let this idea carry you like a tide. There's no need to understand it fully. Just float with it through the layers of possibility, as if drifting through the folds of a vast, endless blanket, each fold a world, each thread a life. Let it remind you that you are not confined. You are not small. You are not alone. Even the limits you feel, of space, of time, of thought, are not as fixed as they seem. Beyond the walls of your room, beyond the orbit of the moon, beyond the stars in the night sky, reality stretches out into mystery. And mystery is a kind of music that only becomes more beautiful the longer you listen. Even the space between these imagined universes, the vacuum, the silence, the gap, is full of potential. It may be the very source from which all universes arise. A kind of cosmic soil, rich with the seeds of worlds yet to bloom. Some theories call this the multiversal field, the inflaton field, the bulk. Words don't matter as much here. What matters is the feeling of vastness, the sense that you are surrounded by more than light, more than matter. You are surrounded by possibility, endless, soft, gentle possibility. And so, as you begin to slip towards sleep, let this thought settle over you like a dream already begun, that the universe may not be alone, that reality may be more like a garden than a single tree, that the stars you see above are just one painting on a wall filled with endless canvases, each painted by the brush strokes of different physics, different beginnings, different ends. And you are one of those brushstrokes, moving slowly, gracefully, perfectly across the canvas of this world. Sleep now in that mystery. Let your thoughts ripple outward, like waves traveling through the sea of universes, brushing gently against other realities. There is nothing you need to grasp, nothing to solve, only to feel, only to float, only to rest in the quiet possibility that existence is far more beautiful, far more strange, far more complete than we can ever know. And maybe, just maybe, in sleep, your mind will drift beyond the horizon of this world and catch a glimpse, just a whisper, of something beyond. Return now from the wide expanse of the multiverse, gently, slowly, like a wave retreating back to the ocean from which it rose. Come back across the dark spaces between galaxies, through the threads of the cosmic web, through the glow of starlight, through the silence of ancient time. Float back into the familiar spiral of the Milky Way, back to a quiet arm of this galaxy, where a small, yellow star burns steadily. Orbiting it is a pale blue world, wrapped in atmosphere and water and life. You know this place. You live here. And for all the majesty and mystery of the greater universe, it is here, on this gentle, breathing planet, that we find the most delicate and intimate reflection of the cosmos. Earth is not apart from the universe. It is not a distant corner. It is not an afterthought. It is a mirror, reflecting back everything that space has ever become, everything the stars have ever done, everything that time has ever allowed. Now imagine what it means to live on a planet where the universe has become conscious of itself. You, listening now, are not a visitor in the cosmos. You are not a stranger peeking in. You are the cosmos, in a form that can see, that can hear, that can feel wonder and sadness and stillness and beauty. Your mind, made of the same particles that once drifted through space as stardust, now dreams and questions and imagines and rests. And that, in itself, is astonishing. The atoms in your body, born in the hearts of stars, forged in explosions beyond measure, have come together in such a way that they can reflect, that they can ask where they came from, that they can even wonder whether the universe thinks. You are not only a part of the universe, you are its awareness, momentarily focused into a single being, experiencing itself from the inside out. Look around this world, even in your imagination, and see the elements of stars reborn in new forms. The calcium in your bones is the same substance found in limestone cliffs that rise above ancient oceans. The oxygen in your breath was once part of plants, and before that, part of the atmosphere, and before that, released by microscopic organisms in Earth's earliest seas. And the hydrogen, the most abundant and ancient element of all, has been unchanged for over 13 billion years, passing through stars, water, flame, and flesh to arrive in your lungs tonight. You are breathing the oldest part of the universe. You are breathing its memory, its persistence, its patience. And in your thoughts, the universe learns to wonder, not in a metaphorical way, but in a deeply real one. If no one had ever looked at the sky and asked what was out there, the stars would still shine, but they would not be known. It is through your eyes that they become seen, through your questions that they become part of a story, through your dreams that they take on meaning. In this way, the universe reflects itself. Your imagination is not separate from reality. It is a continuation of it, a layer upon it, a function of matter that has become aware. Consider how many forms this reflection takes. The stars reflect on the surface of still lakes. The moon echoes itself in puddles and oceans and tears. The spiral of galaxies is mirrored in seashells, in hurricanes, in the soft curl of a sleeping child's hair. Even the patterns of neural connections in your brain resemble the clustering of galaxies across the sky. Not just similar in appearance, but in structure, in function, in beauty. There is no boundary between the inner and the outer. The universe does not draw lines between what it creates and what it feels. Every cell in your body carries the imprint of this unity. Every heartbeat is timed not only by biology, but by the rhythm of something ancient and universal. You might think of yourself as small, as one person among billions, on a planet among billions more, but that is not the whole story. You are also vast. You are awareness multiplied through experience. You are the sum of every particle's journey. You are the center of your own cosmos, not in ego, but in perspective. You are the only you that the universe has ever made, and that makes you irreplaceable. Essential, not separate from the stars, but continuous with them. And so, as you lie still now, letting the day slip away, you might begin to feel the soft presence of something larger holding you, not in words, not in ideas, but in the quiet rhythm of breath and heartbeat and gravity and time. The same forces that guide planets in their orbits also guide you into sleep. The same elements that light stars also light your mind. There is no hard edge between nature and thought, between space and soul. You are not watching the universe. You are in the universe, and the universe is in you. Let that truth deepen your rest. Let it smooth the last creases of the day from your thoughts. Let it cradle you in stillness. You are not lost. You are not drifting alone. You are exactly where you belong, in the middle of a story still unfolding, a reflection still forming, a thought still rising. The universe does not need to speak to be heard. It speaks in stars, in atoms, in dreams, and tonight, it speaks through you, in your quietest breath, in the gentle closing of your eyes, in the peace that comes not from answers, but from simply being part of something greater than you could ever fully understand. Sleep now in that reflection. Sleep as the universe sleeping. And now, as the journey through thought and cosmos begins to soften and settle, let yourself return to the quiet place inside you, the one that's been listening, resting, floating gently beneath every word, every image, every question. Let the final light of stars dim behind your eyelids. Let the edges of your thoughts blur, like ink spreading in water, like the edge of night blending into sleep. The questions of the universe, so vast and luminous, no longer ask for answers. They simply linger, like stars do, silent, constant, beautiful. There's nothing more to figure out. Nothing to do, just this moment, just your body, warm and still, just your breath, gentle and slow, just the soft hush of everything. Imagine, now, that the stars above you are not only distant fires but living memories, slowly dimming as they settle into their long, peaceful silence. The same stars that once exploded into brilliance to forge your very bones are beginning to cool, to fade, not as a tragedy, but as part of the story, a natural, graceful surrender. Even light rests eventually. Even energy finds stillness. Galaxies continue to turn, but more slowly now. The universe itself, in time, will drift toward quiet, toward peace, toward a final, eternal exhale. Not an end, not destruction, but a return to stillness, a cosmic sleep. You may imagine this future, not with sadness, but with awe, a sky filled with quiet stars, burning their last fuel, whispering their last light, the last planet circling its sun, the last light wave traveling through empty space, a silence so vast, so complete, that it wraps around everything like a warm blanket. In this slow twilight of existence, the universe rocks itself into slumber, remembering every form it ever took, remembering every thought it ever became, remembering you, because you are part of it, not just now, not just in this life, but always. The atoms that carry your thoughts will drift on long after sleep takes you, long after time itself slows to stillness, long after memory fades into silence. And maybe that's what dreaming is, not just imagination, but the soft rehearsal of that return, the practice of letting go, a kind of gentle rehearsal for stillness, for surrender, for becoming one with everything once more. In your dreams, time dissolves, meaning slips free from structure. You drift from shape to shape, from memory to echo to silence, and yet you always return, always wake, until one day the dreams become the truth, and you join the great resting. Let that thought soothe you. Let it dissolve any lingering edge of worry or need. The universe is not asking anything of you. There is no task to complete tonight, no answer to chase. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you should be, breathing, being, resting. The same gravity that pulls planets into orbit now pulls you deeper into stillness. The same forces that hold galaxies together now cradle your chest, your limbs, your thoughts. The same rhythm that beats through the universe beats softly in you. You are not separate from the quiet. You are the quiet. You are the settling. You are the breath slowing, the heart easing, the stars dimming one by one. If you could see the sky now, not with your eyes, but with your being, you might see every star as a single note in a lullaby that has been singing since time began. A lullaby made not of sound, but of energy, of memory, of being. And you, small and vast all at once, are part of that song. Your dreams are part of it. Your stillness is part of it. Your letting go is part of it. The song will continue, even in the silence. It will continue, even when the stars are gone, because the song was never about light. It was always about presence. Always about the way being itself continues, even in the dark. And so, tonight, as your mind drifts further from waking, know that you are not fading. You are not slipping away. You are returning to something old and soft and familiar. The same place you came from, the same place all things come from. You are returning to the deep rhythm that underlies everything, to the breath of the stars, to the sleep of the universe, to the still, wide mystery where time no longer needs to move. Feel yourself float there, not falling, not rising, just drifting, held, weightless, thoughtless, beautifully free. The questions have all settled into silence. The stars have all found their places. The galaxies have all traced their spirals. And now, the universe turns inward, closes its eyes, and dreams of what it has been, dreams of every star it ever lit, every planet it ever turned, every life it ever held, every thought it ever became, including this one, including you. Sleep now. Sleep not as escape, but as return. Sleep as the final note of a song made only for you. Let your breath carry you into the dark, into the silence, into the gentle hum beneath all things. The stars are quiet now. The Voyager is still, and the universe, at last, rests in its own infinite, peaceful thought.